The Bay Area has long been known as an incubator of innovation. One epicenter of that creativity is the Institute of Design at Stanford, also known as the D.school. The D.school nurtures outside-the-box thinking in hopes of tackling some of the world's toughest problems. It's the focus of a new documentary called Extreme by Design. It follows groups of Stanford grad students working to create extremely affordable solutions to address poverty in the developing world. Scott Shafer sat down earlier with filmmaker Ralph King and former D.school student Pamela Pavkov. But first, here's a clip from Extreme by Design.
Before departing for their field research, each of the teams must come up with several crude prototypes.
So this is a vertical axis wind turbine. It captures wind by using drag.
So the first prototype we built was simply a balloon over a syringe, and it sort of works when I don't break it.
You can actually turn this device on, and this is why it's called a bubble CPAP device. It actually bubbles, and you can actually increase or decrease that. Oops.
This will be a real kind of epic personal journey for me. I feel like my life is about to change. Yeah.
Well, Ralph King and Pam Pavkov, welcome.
Thank you.
The basis of this film and of the course is this design thinking concept. Describe it. What is it?
Well, design thinking, I feel, is the crown jewel of 21st century education, is a creative process. It's a way of unlocking your innate creativity, and it's problem solving, essentially, of steps to problem solving.
How is it different from brainstorming, or is it a part of brainstorming?
Brainstorming is one element of it. Another element of it is empathetic listening. Another element of it is prototyping, actually converting ideas into physical materials. And then the last step is user testing.
And Pam, you were part of a team that went to Bangladesh, and you were working on a breathing apparatus for little infants with pneumonia. Describe the process you went through with your team, and what were some of the aha moments you had?
Sure. Well, the first step was really just garnering empathy for the patient population that we were seeking to serve.
Why is that so important?
To really put ourselves in their shoes and understand the conditions under which they would be using a solution, and really empathize with the problem that they're experiencing. And so our first objective was really to get deep into understanding neonatal health and the challenges thereof in the developing world.
And you had to also develop, and this is part of something that all the teams dealt with, is you had to, not only did it have to be affordable, but it had to be acceptable, culturally and otherwise. Talk
Correct.
about that process, and that's part of empathy too, I guess.
Yes, I think what that proved to be an incredibly important step, but also a very daunting one, in that, you know, understanding a completely different culture and way of life, and then how that translates into actually getting a solution to the patient. Our device was a bit complicated by the fact that there are in fact so many different stakeholders involved in its use. You have the patient being the child, you have the parents or the mother most often, and you have the doctors and nurses that are actually administering the treatment. And all of those were effectively our users.
And of course, failure is inevitable in a process like this. Describe the role of failure and failing fast.
Well, it's encouraged in this design thinking process because you learn from failure more than you learn from quote-unquote success. And so the idea is to get your prototype out there quickly, have people reacting to it so you can go back and do it again and again and again, and each time reflecting the learnings as you go.
And Pam, you, in that clip we saw earlier, you talked about this is going to be a big change for you. It's going to change you personally. I want to play another clip. This is with you and some of your teammates in Bangladesh, and we'll watch that and then we'll come back and talk.
I think it's really hard being here because you just, you know, there's no difference between the way that, like, I look and the way these moms look. They're basically the same. It's kind of totally random that I'm a Stanford student in California with every opportunity to treat my child, and she doesn't. I hate that. It just feels so unfair.
And Pam, did you know at the beginning of this that you'd be going back to Bangladesh as a Bangladeshi American?
I did know that I would be going to the country as part of our project. I had actually never been there. Our family's not been there since India and Bangladesh separated as countries. But I was very keen on the opportunity to leverage my knowledge and insight as somebody originally from that part of the world in our empathy building.
And what's going through your mind in that clip? It seems like it's a combination of guilt almost, or just like wonder at how am I here and they're, in the situation they're in.
Yeah, I think in that particular moment, it was definitely more guilt and kind of sick to my stomach feeling, recognition that, there was really no difference between myself and the patient population I was seeking to help in so many ways. And their situation actually felt quite hopeless, I would say, at that stage in our process. I think now, looking back on that experience, I feel exceptional responsibility to kind of continue to tap into that moment and feeling and apply it to contributing in some positive way, in recognition of the fact that, yes, I am disproportionately lucky, and in fact, I haven't really earned that right in so many respects.
And Ralph, I know you're taking this same concept of design thinking and using it in middle schools in East Palo Alto and Redwood City. Describe how it applies for kids that age.
Well, it's something that I think middle school is the sweet spot for introducing design thinking, because the kids haven't had the creativity totally crushed out of them yet, which by high school many of them have. But what we've done is taken the teachings of the course and kind of simplified it, and we have a workbook that we've developed like this, which we're testing now. And the hope is that in a 10-week sort of deep dive in design thinking, that kids can start to use it in their schoolwork. And my goal is that within the next couple of years, let's say 100,000 kids are using, and students and graduates are using design thinking in their work.
Quick answer, what do you want people who see this film to take away from it?
Well, I would like them to be inspired. I would like them to think that if they see a problem in the world, that they can fix it. And I would like them to explore design thinking.
All right, the film is called Extreme by Design. Ralph King and Pam Pavkov. Thank you both very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.